Hey guys, just a quick little video today. Let me move that better. There you go. Quick little video today about low voltage wiring. I show you how I wire all my gas furnaces, heat pumps, ACs, dual fuel systems. And then I start off the video with showing you guys how I do my sales costing, how I bid out my jobs, and some things you want to look for in that. And I'm happy to give you guys more tips personally if you need it. You can always find my phone number. My business is on my shirt here. I know it's backwards, but it's Seaton Heating and AC. Feel free to call me at any time if you guys are starting up an HVAC business and you need tips and tricks or anything on how to do it. Like I said, I started with $200 to my name, so and I made it work successfully. So enjoy today's videos, and like I said, next week I'll be back with the ride-along videos. And I look forward to those because that's my bread and butter, and I really enjoy doing those. So that'll be next week. So enjoy this one, though. Okay, guys, just a quick little video on how I price my work and some things you want to think about when you're pricing your HVAC projects, whether it be install or service repair. So, number one, going rate in your area. And that's kind of a touchy subject, I know, but we're going to go over that. Number two, cost of doing business. You need to know what your break-even costs are, and know what your overhead is, so you know that you're going to make the profit that you need to stay in business. And then three is how busy are you. So there's a couple different things, ways I go about it, as far as how I price my work depending on my workload. I do have a different divisor that I use for when I am busier. So let's go over these three things. All right, guys. So going rate is basically, if you're working in an area long enough, you know what your competitors' prices are, especially on like a simple AC change out or a gas furnace change out or heat pump, etc. So what I like to do is, I note what their prices are. I ask the customers, hey, can I take a look at my competitors' bids? And most people are happy to do that, as long as they know you're not using that to try to underbid them, which I don't try to do that. I try to fall somewhere in the middle. So that being said, you get a feel, especially if you've been in an area for more than a few years, what your competitors' prices are. Now, I know going rate's not something that you should base your prices on, but it does give you an idea of, if you're going to be anywhere near getting that project. So let's move on to number two. Okay, guys, number two, cost of doing business. Cost of doing business. Sorry, I thought I was on number one still. So cost of doing business. What are your fixed costs? What are your variable costs? So you definitely want to know what your fixed costs are. What I recommend you do is you sit down with either your accountant, or if you do it yourself like me, take your yearly costs and divide them by 300, or however many working days you have, not 365, but divide your yearly cost. And if you've been in business like me for many years, you can average out your, like 10 years, 5 years, and then you can, average out what that is per year, divide it by however many working days you have per year, 200, 250, whatever it may be. And that'll give you your daily break even. Once you know your break even, then you can start figuring out, okay, what profit do I want to make? And you can add a percentage to that. What do I want to pay myself? What do I want to pay my secretary if you have one? What do I want to pay my guys? And, see what works for you. But you got to know all those costs firsthand, or you're just kind of throwing darts at a dartboard, which you never want to do. So find out your break-even point first. That is number one, guys. That is totally number one. As soon as you know that, you're in good shape. So I know exactly what I need to make every day on average to break even, which is very important. So let's move on to number three. Okay, guys, number three. So I'm going to go over to the whiteboard. I'm going to show you how I do this, how I price my install projects, and these are going to be just random numbers, but this is how I do it as far as formula wise. And let me show you. Okay, guys, I'm going to break this down very simple for you. So I use a divisor to price my work. Okay, and it's real simple. If I'm busy, I divide by 0.5. Okay, you don't times by you don't mark things up. You always use a divisor, and I'll explain to that why you do that in a later video. I'm just going to break down how I price stuff for today. If I'm steady, I got enough work, but I could use a little bit more, 0.55. If I'm not busy at all, then I do 0.6, and I'll show you how that changes the prices here in a second. So, how do we determine the price for our projects? First, we got to add our labor in, right? So that's based off my break even, my overhead, and what profit I want to make, right? So that'll give you your labor rate. You know all those numbers. You can figure out, okay, how much do I need to make an hour on an install? Is it 60 bucks an hour, 70 bucks an hour, 80 bucks an hour? What is that number? That's going to be determined off knowing what your break even, your overhead, and then what percentage profit you want to make, okay, per hour. You need to add your equipment in there, add your parts, add your permit, add your subs. You add any of these things that aren't a fixed cost, like your overhead and everything. These are going to change on each job. So have a line item for that. Spreadsheets are real good for that. I have a really good spreadsheet that I got from somebody that works awesome. So let's say you add all that together, and that turns into $7,000, okay, just for a round number. So, if I'm busy, it's going to basically be doubled, 14,000. If I'm steady, it'll be 12,727, 27. If I'm not busy at all and I want the work, it'll be 11 and some change. So you can see the difference between the two. And obviously you're going to get more work at this price than you would at this one. You'll lose out to some low ballers on this one. This one you're going to be somewhere in the middle. But that's how I try to do it, and it keeps me busy. My closing rate's good anyway. Most of my stuff's referral, so a lot of this just gets thrown out the window, and I just start bidding stuff this all the time because I'm never really slow. So yeah, but take a look at all that. That's how I do it. You guys might do it differently, but it works for me. It works well. So okay, guys. So yeah, that's just in closing. That's how I do my pricing on stuff, and how I keep my business rolling. Obviously I've been kind of sitting on my hands a little bit the last couple weeks because I got some vehicle issues, but that's all built into my break even throughout the year. So I can make it up. I honestly got a business model. I can take a month or two off if I really wanted to. And I don't stress out about it. I have customers, I have jobs out there. They're willing to wait for me. We're heading towards the shoulder season, and things aren't that pressing. If things were really pressing, in the middle of summer, I would definitely get a vehicle the next day somehow. I'd rent a truck or something if I had to. My plan is I have a truck that's up on the top of my hill here that was supposed to be my backup, but I never got it fixed. So part of my business model is always having a backup vehicle as a one-man band. So maybe I'll buy 2 vans. I'm working on that right now. I got something lined up for next week to get me by, and then I'm gonna get the vehicle situation figured out. So life is good. I got no complaints. And I just want to do a quick little video on this stuff for you, and hopefully you learned something if you didn't know this stuff already. And I'm happy to help any small one-man band businesses or larger businesses if need be. That's not really my forte though, but I'm here for you guys if you need something. I got vast experience. I've taken lots of classes on business and lots of classes on HVAC. So that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, guys. Okay, guys, let's go over this very quickly and precisely. These are what your 24-volt low voltage terminals and what colors I use. This is assuming a 10-stranded 1810 an 1810 thermostat wire. Okay, so it's a 18 gauge wire with 10 terminals in it, 10 different colors. So we got our 24 volts, which is our R, red. Our 24 volts common, C, which is blue. G, which controls our fan, is green. Then you have your W1, which is your first stage of heat, white. W2, your second stage of heat, is brown. Y1, your first stage of your compressor, your AC, yellow. Second stage compressor, Y2, I use pink. O for your reversing valve, I use orange. Now that can be O/B. I should put that there because some pieces of equipment use B for energizing the reversing valve. That means it's energized in heating side. And then on your heat pump thermostats, you have auxiliary/E. Sometimes they're separate on there too. That's basically just your either your backup heat or your defrost when the system goes into defrost, some way to temper the temperature of the air. And then you have your outdoor sensor terminals, S1 and S2. I use black and gray. This is assuming an 1810 wire. So these are the colors that you'll have in your 1810 thermostat wire. These are the colors that I use, and I've been using them for probably about 25 years. So let's go over the different scenarios that you will use these wires for in a real-life application on a job. Okay, guys, single-stage gas furnace with a single-stage air conditioner. Okay, very basic. Red to red, that's your 24 volts hot. Common to common, C. I already showed you what colors these would be. So blue, red, that's your 24 volts common. G controls your fan, that's a green wire, G to G. W, W1, it's going to be W on a single stage unit. Just W to W, your white wire. Y to Y, yellow. So this is going from your thermostat to your gas furnace. Real simple, real easy. And then from your gas furnace out to your single stage air conditioner, it's your single first stage compressor wire is what I call it. Y, yellow, outside. And then you'll do your blue, which is your common outside. That's all you do. Simple single stage gas furnace AC. Let's go over a two-stage gas furnace two-stage gas furnace with a two-stage AC. Okay, guys, two-stage gas furnace AC. Same as the single stage, but now what you're adding in your Y2. Second stage compressor going outside. So you're going to have that terminal on your thermostat and on your gas furnace and out to your air conditioner. And I use pink for that. Just what I use. Some guys use brown, but I like to do it the same every time. So Y2 for pink. Even some of the manufacturers have that as the color inside of their equipment. So easy to mess it up if you don't do the same thing every time. And then your W2, your brown wire, just goes from your thermostat to your furnace, obviously, because that's for your heat. It's not going to go out to your AC. So that's a quick two-stage gas furnace AC. Let's do a single-stage heat pump with a one source of backup heat. Let me show you how that works. Okay, guys, single-stage heat pump with one stage of backup heat. Pretty similar to gas furnaces and ACs, but a little bit different. So you got R from your thermostat to your air handling unit. Then R goes outside, except for the Bosch units that don't have an R that goes outside. So, but most heat pumps, standard heat pumps, are going to have your red wire that needs to go outside. Your blue wire, your common, same as AC, goes from your thermostat to your air handling unit to your heat pump. G just goes from your thermostat to your air handler because it's just going to control the indoor fan. Then you have, I'm going to call it on a heat pump, W1, auxiliary E. They're usually all the same terminal. You'll just have to change the programming. That's your white wire that goes into your air handler. Wire nut it. Sometimes there's two wires there that need to energize all of your banks of heat strips. So sometimes you'll have to wire nut 3 wires together there. And then your white wire continue outside. I'm going to call it defrost W1 for outside because it's going to come on during defrost, okay? Y1, same, first stage compressor, yellow, from the thermostat to the air handler, and then from your air handler to your outdoor unit, and then O, and I should put O/B here, so O/B is going to be your orange wire, O/B to O/B. Now on some of the units like the Bosch, the Rheems, you'll need to switch that in the thermostat to have it energized in heating, which would be your B. So, and then another thing that most heat pumps should have is a two-wire outdoor sensor. Some of the Wi-Fi thermostats are doing it via the closest weather station, so it'll get the weather data that way. I think this is the best way to do it. Find a suitable place on the house to put your outdoor sensor. It's just a 2-wire sensor. Again, I use black and gray for those. This is assuming a 10-wire thermostat wire, okay? And then, find a shaded place to put that. You'll get the best data, and it'll lock. That's used to lock out your backup heat. So let's say you only want the heat pump to run down to like freezing, and then you would have your auxiliary heat kick on below that temperature, okay? Let's do a 4 heat, 2 cool scenario on this, so I can show you the most crazy setups that you'll see. Okay, guys, 2-stage heat pump with 2 stages of backup heat. So I'm not going to go over all this, and it's all the same. RR all the way outside. Common all the way to outside. Fan from your thermostat to your air handler, doesn't go outside. Then you have your auxiliary, your backup heat, stage 1, out to your W1 outside. Usually there's only going to be 1 outside. I've never seen a heat pump that has 2 of them. And then auxiliary 2, so that would be, let's say, your second stage of backup heat, okay? You would tie that just indoor, and then you would wire them all outside, because you want to energize your whole bank of heat strips when it goes into defrost. I recommend it anyway. And another way you can do it too is you can have these staged on an outdoor sensor as well. It just gets a little complicated that way. Usually a smart thermostat will can do it timed. So, if it doesn't reach temp within a certain amount of time on your backup, it'll kick in that second stage. So there's programming in the thermostats that'll help you with that. First stage compressor outside, second stage of your compressor outside, and then your reversing valve again, and then your outdoor sensors. So I don't want to get too crazy with going over this too much, as opposed to what I showed you already, because it's the same. But this stuff here is a little bit different. So how about a dual fuel? How would we set that up? Okay, guys, instead of showing you the wiring for these, I'm going to show you the difference, because the wiring on a dual fuel as opposed to a heat pump are pretty similar. So I'll be kind of going over things too much. So on a dual fuel system, it's going to be your gas furnace or your heat pump. They'll never run at the same time. They can't, because what happens is your gas furnace will actually cause your heat pump to go out on high head pressure if you had the heat pump run at the same time. So you do the heat pump down to a certain temperature, then it switches over to your gas furnace, okay? How do we determine where that switch over is? A couple different ways, okay? You have what's called your thermal balance point. What's the most efficient method to heat the house at what outdoor temperature? That can be determined by your balance points that you'll find in the manufacturer's data. And then there's also an economic balance point too, which, sorry, I said that wrong. Thermal balance point is which one will do it the most comfortably, okay? So it's a comfort balance point, basically. And then economic is what's the most efficient, what's going to cost you the least to run, okay? So that can be found out by finding out what your utility data are, gas versus electric. And there's then you can punch in those numbers, and it'll tell you what your economic balance point is. So, but I'm just giving you guys terms that you can look up if you're not familiar with them. So look up a thermal balance point. Just do a Google search versus economic balance point. It'll explain all that to you. I'm not going to get into it on my whiteboard here. Typically, it's about 30 to 35 degrees is what most systems are set at, but you can set them a lot lower or even higher depending on how the numbers come out, okay? Heat pump with backup electric heat. It's heat pump only above 35 degrees or whatever that economic or thermal balance point is between heat pump and electric, okay? Then most systems between 34 and 11 degrees are heat pump and the electric backup running at the same time. They can run at the same time because your electric heat strips are on the discharge side of your evaporator coil, so it's not going to affect the pressures as far as your refrigeration side of the system, okay? So heat pump electric, 34 to 11 degrees, both at the same time. And then I like to set them up so it's electric only 10 degrees and below. Again, you can see what the thermal and economic balance points are on that too to see, but most heat pumps are not going to run very well below 10 degrees from what I've seen. So let me know if that makes sense to you guys. Tried to just do a quick little video on wiring and kind of explain the difference between these systems for you real quick. I'm kind of in a hurry this morning. If you can't tell, I'm talking real fast. I got stuff I got to go do today. So thanks for watching, guys, and I will be back next week with actual ride-along videos for you. I'm looking forward to it. So I'll see you then.